Jeff Passan has dropped his MLB trade deadline early preview for the 2026 MLB trade deadline. And of course, he's mentioned the Mets in there, mentioned as one of the teams that could be extremely active on either side, depending on how the rest of the season goes. Before we get going into this article and what's been said in trade deadline talk, make sure you guys are subscribed to Mets'd over on YouTube to see the video version. And if you're listening to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, drops a rating, drops a review, download, and subscribe. There's some interesting things in this article, to say the least, James.
I think some very interesting things. I think the Mets are in a unique position because, one, they suck, as we go over every single episode. But two, because we're still giving it this month to see if the team can claw their way near 500. We know that for a fact. The team was just, 16-12 in May, so it's not.
And in the most disgusting, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I do have to. Because of the new format, the Mets are only 6 out of the wild card, which is a complete bastardization of the sport because almost everybody is 6 games out of the wild card right now. But you could theoretically probably convince some people to not be as aggressive sellers and look to go about it a different way when you see that number.
Possibly. The other part about that is that now, especially with the reemergence of the Phillies, it seems like there's basically, I almost think the Phillies have like an 85% playoff odds at this point.
Oh, they're making the playoffs.
That's what I'm saying. So in my mind, and also just the way I think the Pirates are playing, I think they have a spot as well. And all the 3 divisions in the National League are already completely locked up on June 5th.
Yes.
So really now what realistically is happening is there are 7 teams going, 9 teams going for 1 playoff spot. So the 6 games out means nothing, especially because of how early in the year it is. But really it's just about the Mets, the Nationals, the Reds, the Cubs, the Padres, the Diamondbacks, all fighting it out for 1 spot. Which
Pirates still too. I know we like the Pirates, but Pirates are still fighting.
The Pirates are fighting too. But I think this Pirates team is a leg up from these other teams in terms of just talent nationally. The Cardinals are in that mix as well. So these are a lot of teams the Mets are going to play. A lot of teams the Mets have already lost to. Again, realistically speaking, there's like a 3 to 4% chance to make the playoffs. It's probably not going to happen. So I think realistically we have to start looking to the trade deadline and how the Mets try to salvage this horrific, horrible, disaster, miserable, awful season. And the best way to do that by far is to cash in on Freddie Peralta, which does suck because that was the piece that was supposed to put us over the top this season. And he's the guy who we go back and forth on Freddie. I think all Mets fans have so far. He still pitches well. The guy still comes to the ballpark with a great attitude every day. It seems like he's also getting better, especially after that last start in Seattle. But to be able to cash in on him at the trade deadline as an expiring contract is absolutely the best way the Mets could possibly recoup anything from this season.
There's a strange world where the Mets might be able to get back slightly better or at least equal to what they gave up.
At least similar.
Yeah, at least similar, because me and you just did a video on the wind-up talking about what the starting pitching market looked like last year, and Merrill Kelly was basically the only starting pitcher moved, and while it wasn't any top guys, like still no top 100 prospects at this moment that went over in that trade, they did get a... What's up?
I think Brad or Cole Drake, one of them was fringe.
I think they were fringy, yeah. And they might be fringe right now still to this day. They went more quantity over quality necessarily, but with Freddie Peralta being much better than Merrill Kelly, and we've seen the price that pitching goes for, especially starting pitching on the trade market, the Mets at least have the ability, and I know this is like the worst thing for Mets fans to hear, to go get some more prospects back for a guy like Freddie Peralta, who I think for a team that's pushing for the playoffs can be a difference maker, should be a difference maker.
Or not even prospects. It would probably be something like what the Brewers wanted from the Mets heading into this season, Freddie Peralta. Someone who could contribute to the Major League team right away, who has not pitched well at all, Brandon Sproat, and someone who you'd think could build after a year-ish to being a Major League regular. And Jet Williams also not had a very good season since that trade. The one thing that changes the nexus of that a little bit, I know we just did that video and how unique the starting pitching market was last year, it's a little bit more robust this trade deadline.
Yes.
Tarek Skubal is almost definitely getting moved. I think Sandy Alcantara is almost definitely getting moved. Jeff Passan in this article specified that guys like Reed Detmers and Kevin Gausman could be available. I don't know if those would be true. I mean, Gausman
feels surprising just because he loves Toronto, and it doesn't feel like that's a team or an organization that's going to be tearing it down by any means, even if they are struggling.
But he does have 1 year left, right?
I think so.
I think this is maybe this is the last year of his contract, actually, if I'm not mistaken. I'll go back and check. But so there are a few more impact-type starting pitchers on the market. But
I do think Freddie's better than Sandy, though. Sandy's looked horrendous.
He's looked horrendous. He's also looked good at times. But Sandy is the anti-Freddie, where Sandy is going to give you 7 innings, 4 runs. Freddie's going to give you 5 innings, 2 runs.
Yes.
So it's just about what the team kind of covers as you get to the trade deadline. But again, Freddie Peralta's a legitimate piece. Freddie Peralta's still recognized as like a top, I would say, 30 or so starting pitcher in all of Major League Baseball. He's someone who you'd be really comfortable starting especially really comfortable starting the second game of your playoff series. Worthy just popped up on my screen as an ad on Spotrac. that just gave me scary. Yeah, this is the last year of Gosman's contract. So again, if they have a tumble through June and July, which I don't think they will, I think that team is still too good to do that. Maybe he's available, but it's not going to be as incredible as a starting pitching market as last year, but I think also a very good one.
Yeah, I think Freddie probably find himself being the second or third best starting pitcher available on the market, which is for a team that could be selling, that's a great place to be. That being said, like Passan said, and even to like the most delusional Mets fan, you probably still have to wait until Francisco Lindor comes back to actually be able to really start shopping Freddie.
No, it's the line from the Revolutionary War when we had the muskets, the bayonets. You don't shoot till you see the whites of their eyes. Like you're not pulling the trigger. And also, because I don't think David Stearns can pull the trigger on being a seller until right before. This won't be like the great sale of 2023, where like a week before the trade deadline, it was kind of like the exodus began. But this will be probably a team that is selling at the deadline. Honestly, I'll even say this: unless this team gets white hot until the trade deadline, you probably still just should sell instead of just meandering into that last wild card spot, right?
What's the record that they would need? Like, what's the line you think record-wise? You think 5? Let's just pretend in a world that the last week before the trade deadline, the Mets are 500.
You have to look good.
Okay,
I
so
think
you're not worried about record. You think it's going to be how the team actually feels on the field.
You have to worry about record because there's a certain amount of teams we have to jump over, of course, like we just said. Again, right now, ahead of the Mets in the National League wildcard race is the Pirates, the Cardinals, the Diamondbacks, the Phillies, the Padres, the Cubs, the Reds, the Nationals, the Marlins. Every single team besides the Giants and the Rockies are ahead of the Mets right now, just to give a sense of how far out of the race this team actually.
Now, some of those teams are like half a game ahead of the Mets. So
No, the Mets. The closest one is actually the Marlins. We're a game and a half ahead. Nationals.
A game and a half, damn.
Nationals are 3.5 games ahead of the Mets. The Mets are back. The Mets are and. More important than the games are the teams jumping over because all these teams have already beaten the Mets. The Cubs have already swept the Mets. The Reds have already taken 2 out of 3 from the Mets. The Marlins have already swept the Mets, even though we just swept them back. The Nationals have played this stuff all year long. So it's like the Cardinals have taken 2 out of 3 from us. The Diamondbacks have swept us. Like these, like we haven't played the Phillies yet, which is insane, but whatever.
Or
leave
the
that
Braves.
there. Or the Braves. The Padres now, they're ahead of us too. Like there has to be a feeling of this team to actually decide not to sell. Like you have to see Nolan McClain get back on track. You have to have good news about Clay Holmes. Bo Bichette has to hit. Like if you drag your way to 500, but the team still plays dog shit baseball, you might have to do like what some teams do who kind of live on the edge sometimes, or you have to still sell even though you think you might have a small shot. And again, like maybe you make enough of an impact with Freddie Peralta where if you still do want him to re-sign him next year, you sign him. But if you get an offer that's more valuable than what you'd lose if he were to leave elsewhere with a qualifying offer, you probably just do it.
I saw an interesting clip today on Instagram from Alex Day. He had Buster Olney on, and Buster Olney kind of weirdly hinted that he thinks that Steve Cohen might have been involved in the Bo Bichette signing more so than people think, and that he thinks Steve Cohen could eventually start becoming more of a puppet master, which feels like not the right decision ever. Do you think that Steve Cohen, 1, has that kind of power, and then 2, you think he'll let David Stearns sell? Because that place is going to be even more empty than it already is if they sell.
I mean, possibly, but it might be empty anyway if you're 10 games under 500 and you don't want to sell. Like, I think no matter what, the Mets are going to be struggling to fill that ballpark in August unless they start doing $5 beers and $5 hot dogs like 3 days a week instead of just on Tuesdays. Like, if I'm going to be honest with you, or maybe
kids eat for free.
half off parking night, please. But I don't know. The whole point of why David Stearns is supposed to come here is that Steve Cohen would stop meddling with the baseball operations. That was the whole reason that he was chosen a year in advance, picked out individually, and is kind of seemingly the only executive that was willing to take this, not willing to take this job, but like willing to be someone who was coveted in the baseball world and still decide to come to the Mets.
I mean, he's getting paid like $10 million a year, too. That helps.
For sure, but I think most executives will get paid that year.
I think any executive getting that pay would have been like, yeah, I'll go be for the Mets.
we were going on about this a lot during the losing streak, where it's like the organization still feels chaotic. And I think that would be something that, one, a chaotic organization would do is, be like, I'm going to jump in now and deal with my executive's vision. But also, 2, like that's something that we feel like Steve Cohen had done in the past while he was the owner of this team. So if it were to have happened again, I wouldn't really be surprised either.
This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Baseball fans, the MLB season is in full swing, and FanDuel is giving you a chance to call your shot with daily dingers. Joining the action is easy. Just make your free pick on who's hitting a home run in their game, and if you're right, you'll get a profit boost to use on your next bet for a chance at extra winnings. It's just another reason why FanDuel is the home of home runs. So, are you ready to play your game? Head over to fanduel.com/podcast to get started. That's fanduel.com/podcast to opt in for daily dingers. Make your free pick on who's hitting a homer. Play ball, swing for the fences on FanDuel, an official partner of Major League Baseball. No purchase necessary. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER.
Yeah, I hope that's not the case. I hope that David Stearns does get to make all the decisions, because I do think, I mean, me and you both are not thinking the Mets are making any sort of run, not making the playoffs. I know I've been kind of like the optimist so far in this episode, talking about like, well, what if this happens? If the Queen had balls, she'd be king. That's kind of what's going on with the Mets right now, where it's like, until they show any sort of life, this team is dead. And even with all the injuries and guys coming back, they didn't show much life even with those guys. So it's not like there's a lot of light at the end of the tunnel just yet. And even outside of Freddie Peralta, there are other guys on the bullpen side that the Mets could definitely move on from and probably should, no matter what.
Oh, yeah. Brooks Raley and A.J. Minter would be pieces this trade deadline. Even a guy like Huascar Brasban, who I don't want to part with. And Jeff Passan mentioned all three by name in this piece as guys who seems like they would be available. A top of team's wish list, as Passan put it. But those are guys who would get decent returns. I mean, Brasban still has multiple years of control. And
Options.
I think this might be his last option. He hasn't got down yet, has he?
Drives.
But yeah, double check that. But those are, like, the Mets could go through this trade deadline and get real pieces back. That's not what any of us want to hear. That's not like good news. Like, oh, the Mets could have a good trade deadline as a seller. Like, that sucks.
Brasban still has one option left. Wow. So if they keep him if they don't send him down at all, he could still go into next year with one option.
Should get a top 10 prospect for Huascar Brasban with an option.
Turning 37 in a few months.
Doesn't matter. That's a young arm. But yeah, it still is all frustrating. But you asked me before, what do you need to see for this Mets team not to sell?
If I was in control,
yeah,
I think it would have to be, the Mets would have to be 500 or within like 2 games of 500. But like you said, they do have to play good baseball. Like, I need to see healthy Francisco Lindor playing well. I need to see healthy Jorge Polanco back playing well. And I think I need to see Nolan McLean back a little bit too. Like, I need to see him pitching well, because the idea to not sell would be that this rotation with Christian Scott, Freddie Peralta would be a part of it, not selling. You do need that third guy, part of the three-headed monster, and I have faith in Christian Scott to be good the rest of the year.
Yeah,
and I think Nolan McLean is going to be great. There's my thoughts on Nolan McLean haven't changed as a pitcher moving forward, but right now we know that there's stuff going on that is causing Nolan McLean to pitch poorly. He hasn't had the control. Maybe there's an injury scare going on, or he's pitching through something. If Nolan McLean is not healthy, or if Nolan McLean is not the version that we expect him to be on this team, they can't do anything. Even if they were to somehow make a miracle run and make the playoffs, they just can't run with this rotation and expect a different outcome, even if the offense is back healthy.
I got deep on some Nolan McLean stuff on a video I just put out on my channel about, like, if should you panic about these players. He was the first pitcher I talked about. 2 things are kind of hurting Nolan McLean right now, as I dug like really deeply into it. He's not placing that curveball anymore against the lefties. The pitch is all over the place. And I think the righties are starting to anticipate his sinker much better, because the pitch doesn't have a different movement profile. And his command, if it's still been good, but now he's fallen behind in the count a little bit more often, so he's leaned on it a tiny bit more. And it's getting hit harder than ever before. All the contact is still on the ground, so I think just the law of averages, some of the ground balls that were finding gloves before, not finding gloves now. But it seems to me like it's something that should be relatively fixable, just regaining the consistency of that curveball. Because also we remember the conversations around how long it took for Nolan McLean to get called up last season. All of that was about this curveball's consistency and how long it took him to actually really, truly be comfortable with that pitch at AAA. Where people are like, oh, he should have come. And again, it wound up being a real kismet for David Stearns that Nolan McLean got the rookie eligibility this year. Now he's kind of worked his way out of the Rookie of the Year race already, but possibly. We'll see how the year winds up. When that pitch wasn't there, he was not this effective. And then he had the pitch and he was that effective. Now he's lost the pitch. He's lost a lot of the effectiveness. So it's a really big deal for him to get that curveball right. And I think, again, it probably will happen. Just a spin first guy. Like, sometimes you go in, sometimes you're high, sometimes you're low. But there's just too much of this team right now that's not right to ever make me think they're not going to sell.
Also, like, I know Clay Holmes, has got the injury. He's on the IL. He's another guy who I think very, very much could be on the move, just because when he comes back, he's a great pitcher, and I think teams would like Clay Holmes on their team.
Yeah, no, Clay Holmes is a great pitcher, but I think the health thing is a big deal for him, especially with a broken bone. Like, it's just has to. That's a big man.
David Peterson, I think if anybody takes him, he's on his way out. This was not mentioned in Jeff Passan's article. I do think Luke Weaver might have some juice too on the trade deadline block.
I think 3 years teams would be reluctant to trade for 3 years of relief. Oh, yeah, 2 years. You're right. But
Devin
also,
Williams is the 3 years.
that's the one. He will definitely not get traded. But I also think that possibly could be the Mets still wanting to field a good team next year.
True. That's fair.
I mean, like Luke Weaver's pitched great this year. I think the best version of the Mets next season has Luke Weaver in their bullpen.
What if, in a world where there's a salary cap, wouldn't you want to get rid of Luke Weaver now? So because really,
There's not going to be a salary cap.
I know, of course, there's not going to be, but I feel like if there ever was, relievers are going to be the ones that get absolutely crushed. Like a reliever making any sort of money that's not absolutely elite. Like, why would you ever pay for it? Just have optionable guys who are free.
Did you see the Soto quote about that?
No, what do you say?
I'll pull it up right now. It was Will Salmon talked to Juan Soto about the potential salary cap. And from Will, if the salary cap is proposed, Major League Baseball's first offer this week were to take effect next season, more than 20% of the Mets' theoretical cap space would account for one player, Juan Soto. Soto goes, baseball's doing great. We've been increasing every year. It's been great for baseball. We are in the best moment in baseball right now in all kinds of ways. Why should we have a cap?
He's right, though. There is no reason to have a cap in baseball. Absolutely not.
And there won't be a cap. All the hand-wringing right now, all of the Pirates fans, there's some reason flooding everyone's timelines right now. I never knew there were many Pirates fans.
It really just is that nutsy poo guy who's an MLB The Show streamer.
It's just also like the Pirates belong in that. The Pirates fans belong in that chair in the corner of a hotel room.
The cuck chair?
Yes.
Yeah, you could say that word, I think, on YouTube.
I don't know what the rules of YouTube are, but they're just so lame. They think a salary cap is going to make their team. It's just the fact their owner doesn't spend any money. And I think that the Pittsburgh fans get spoiled because of how much success they find in the other sports in their city, where there are salary caps. Like, oh, if we do that, we'll be great in this one too. And I think it really just comes down to a lot of incompetence and organizational issues. That's why no one ever talks about the Mets when you start bringing up a salary cap. The Mets and Dodgers spend the same money, but the skill issue between them. And that's why the Mets suck and the Dodgers are great.
Having a skill issue as an organization is so insanely frustrating.
And that's kind of where we have been stuck for a long time.
Who's going to take Mark Vientos at the trade deadline, James?
The Ducks?
Yeah, maybe the Long Island Ducks.
He'll probably
He'll
catch on
fighters in the
somewhere.
MPB.
Yeah. I don't know who needs a righty first baseman right now, who has the roster spot that can take Mark Vientos. But the Mets, again, it is frustrating that there actually are legitimate pieces for us to trade. And there's also going to be, in the next 3 weeks, we're going to get Lindor, Alvarez, and Polanco back in the lineup.
Yep.
Maybe we actually do start hitting. The issue is going to be when this Mets team is
6 games under 500, but playing good.
I was going to say 2 games under 500, but still don't look clean as we get close to the break. And it's going to be what do you do?
See, I think it's almost the opposite. I think it will be oh man, they're playing really good ball, but they just dug themselves too big of a hole. They're 4 games under, and was it July 31st of the trade deadline?
No, I think this year is August 4th.
Oh, is it really?
Last year was the 31st. But it jumps around too much.
Why does it move? Just have it be the same day every single year. But that's what I'm concerned about. Is Mets. Everyone gets healthy, it starts clicking, and they're 4 games under 500, and it's oh man, do we do it?
But that's what's going to wind up happening, which is why I want to lead with that little diatribe on the top that, to me, it's almost impossible for the right decision for this team not to sell because of how deep the hole is and because of how good of a rental asset Freddie Peralta is.
I would love to be able to take a look and see what that team looks like then. Because I think, bye, James. There goes your camera.
What's going on with this camera?
You gotta figure that out.
Does yours not overheat like this?
Not even for a second.
Why does this keep happening? Just been on for an hour straight, it overheats.
You have the dummy camera, the battery in there?
Yeah, I do. I have the little external battery in, and for some reason, it goes. I feel it touching the back. It's hot.
Well, honestly, it's a great time for us to wrap it up. Whenever your camera turns on, I'll let you say goodbye to the people. But thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing to Mets'd Up so you can see the video version, including the black screen of James. If you're listening to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, drop us a ring, drop us a review, download, and subscribe. You can follow James on social media at
James Shiano.
I'm Giraffe Nick Mark. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. Let's go Knicks.
Let's go Knicks. See you guys next time.